Good afternoon. My name is Matt Seifer. I'm the director of the Real Estate Finance Initiative here at Georgetown. Certainly appreciate everybody coming out. This is the first time through for me on the, as it relates to the Luminaries event, and really couldn't be more excited to have the great panelists that we have lined up for you guys here this afternoon, and then Ralph Rosenberg from KKR that will be here later this afternoon. This is an important time for our program. This is the first Luminaries event that we have a actual director of the program, which is a great, obviously, step in the right direction. And as a lot of you guys know, I came from Invesco Real Estate before this. I was at Invesco for 8 years, and I ran their underwriting group, was on their investment committee and investment strategy group. And what I gleaned from that experience is what I think underwriters and young professionals need to know to be successful in the real estate industry. And I hired tons of those folks over time and really mentored a lot of them. So I kind of got to know, I think, what works and what doesn't. And while I was at Invesco, I always had this sort of academic thing where I taught at Southern Methodist University in their MBA program, and always kind of did both because I love this intersection of the private sector and the the academic world. So, and I always said to myself too, if I ever got an opportunity to run a high-quality program in a great school with a great brand in a major real estate market, I would jump. And that's what happened with at Georgetown here. So, I came on board in July of 2012 and have been actually working diligently ever since. And the thing that we're sort of really focused on here, and I just got out of an advisory board meeting that really resonated that with me, is in my mind it's all about application. And Bob Steers, who's going to be up here in a little bit, talked about the concept of beta and alpha as it relates to academics. Beta is what every school teaches. That's just you being in classes and learning. The alpha is the juice, and in my mind that's what you do to distinguish yourself. And in my humble opinion, I don't think enough schools are really embracing that truly, and that's really our going to be our niche here. And the approach really is as I said, is the hands-on application. Okay, so what does that mean? So in this in this room today, we have 6 of my MBA students who have underwritten $500 million worth of real estate for a company in the last 30 days. And they have live transactional experience that they got here. And in my opinion, that is a key differentiator between what we're doing and what other folks are doing. And what the objective here is that we're able to accentuate that to bring more folks here to Georgetown because I think the level of education is just different. So I'm excited to be here because I think we have the opportunity to build something that's really fundamentally different. And it's really going to have a deep root in this private sector area, which is where I've come from. So, and obviously real estate is a highly applied profession, and so having that applied experience is important. So before we move on, I just wanted to thank a couple people and groups. So obviously first is the students. I've had an absolute blast with the students since I arrived in July, and the creativity, the curiosity, the initiative is really inspiring to me. And I've said to my wife multiple times, I cannot believe the creativity of some of these students and really what they're thinking about at this stage. So I've enjoyed that very much, so thank you for that. I would not be here if it were not for Bob Steers, who's going to come up here in a moment. I knew Georgetown was serious about real estate when I saw that Bob was on the search committee for my role, and really have gotten to know Bob over time here as I've kind of worked through things, and his expertise and experience has been key. So I appreciate that very much, Bob. So thank you. And I'd like to actually introduce Dean David Thomas, who will be following me. I'm going to bring him up here in a moment. But also, my experiences with David have been phenomenal, and he possesses this entrepreneurial spirit. I'm sure there's an environmental element as well. This entrepreneurial spirit that is exactly what we need here, in my opinion, and it fits perfectly with what we're trying to do on the real estate side. So his leadership and his insight has been very critical in my development here. So I'd encourage everybody to sit back and relax. We have Ralph who's just entered the building, so we'll be anxious to see him and hear from him. And, just on the program, just really quickly, I think there's, in the industry today, there's a lot of capital that is going towards core investment, and it's a core-dominated strategy right now. And I think this search for return that we were talking about, well, as the premise of what we're doing here, and having Ralph here is huge because it's just different than what a lot of groups are doing. So obviously very excited to have Ralph here, and we have a great panel that will actually precede Ralph, but I will invite actually Dean David Thomas to come up now for his remarks. So thank you very much, and thanks for coming.
I'm going to try to be brief so that we get quickly to our program, which is an exciting one. But first, let me welcome all of you here, students, alumni, partners, those of you who are not connected to Georgetown. It's great to have you here. I'm excited to be here because to me, this is really the moment of our full public launch of the real estate initiative here at Georgetown's McDonough School of Business. And a little more than 18 months ago, I had a conversation with Bob Steers, who I'll introduce in a moment, and about real estate in Georgetown, and I went away and did some research on my own, and it became clear to me that real estate is one of the most vital aspects of our economic life throughout the world. It's the largest real estate class. It is something that in a very tangible way we all experience every day. So to be focused on this area of activity and inquiry, in my view, fits with the goals that we've set for ourselves here at Georgetown to develop leaders who can serve the interests of both business and society. And the effective development, management, evolution of real estate is important to the world. So while we can think of this only in the context of providing education to students, I think what we're doing is providing something that will, if we do it well, help to secure the future. Because the other conclusion that I came to is that we can do something distinctive in real estate here at Georgetown, and Matt has already described his approach, and he's almost understated in saying that we are already doing things in this area that other schools that have been that have had real estate programs much longer than us have yet to do. And I think we haven't even scratched the surface of how this will evolve. As I became committed to this, and I enlisted Bob as my partner, very much with his leadership, we were able to enlist a group of people to give us their time, their talent, and their treasure to help us move this program very rapidly to, I think, a place that it would take many programs several years to get to, and we've already done that. Many of those individuals are here in this room, and they were here today as Matt's advisory board, and I want to thank each one of you for your commitment, because it's also given me the confidence to invest ahead of schedule in the things that Matt has brought up. And one of the things that I think was also clear to Bob and I after we got on the same page with this is we could do a lot of things, but we had to find a leader with a vision to make this real. And I think in Matt Seifer, I know in Matt Seifer, we have found that leader, not just with the vision, but with the energy and the experience and the perspective to really move this forward. And it's very rare to find somebody with his combination of practitioner and academic talent and orientation. He tries not to tell anybody, but he's actually Dr. Cipher. So he's a real academic. And so with that, I want to turn to introducing my primary partner in bringing us to where we are today, and that's Bob Steers. Bob is a Georgetown alum of the McDonough School of Business. I learned today that he had hid from me the fact that he also got an MBA from George Washington, but we'll forgive him for that. He pointed out that the MBA program didn't exist when he did that. Bob is co-chairman and co-chief executive of Cohen & Steers, a New York Stock Exchange-listed company. Established in 1986, the firm is a leading global investment manager specializing in global real estate securities, global listed infrastructure, real assets, large cap value stocks, and preferred securities. It also offers alternative investment strategies such as hedged real estate securities, portfolios, private real estate multi-managers. If you are in this field, you know Cohen & Steers. They are one of the dominant forces in their field. But something I think is even more important to know about Bob is that Bob is a person who truly believes in giving back. And in almost every way possible, he has served Georgetown University. He's currently the head of the investment committee for the university. He also is the chair of the Board of Advisors here, as well as a member of the executive council that is leading our capital campaign at the university level. Jack DeGioia once said at a dinner that if he had to identify the most important moments of the university and the school, he'd have to talk about Bob's role at each one of those times in his tenure as president. So with that, I want to give you Bob Steers.
Thanks for the plug, David. I appreciate it. I'm going to keep this short because I think Matt and David have covered the most essential points, which is, I'm pleased to say, the real estate initiative is alive, and it is real. It's not a concept anymore. Matt's here. We had our, as David mentioned, our first board meeting just a couple of hours ago, and I think we're well on our way to delivering a large number of alpha-oriented opportunities for our students that they won't find elsewhere. And there's some world-class real estate programs in other schools, and we're not going to try to replicate them, but we are going to try to deliver things that they can't or haven't, and I think we're well equipped to do that. I do want to thank Dean Thomas for the support he gave me as well as the other early movers on this idea. It's something that's been percolating for about a decade, so it took someone who bought what we had to sell to get moving forward. As did Professor Agarwal, who has also played a key part in this, and of course, the members of the Board of Advisors. As David likes to say, they give both their time and their treasure, and without those board members, many of whom are here today, this would not have happened. And lastly, I just want to thank Matt for pulling this all together today. He had about 50 other major priorities going on, but managed to do a great job in coordinating today's event. So, as Matt and I were talking, in the past we've had some luminaries who were really just here for star value, the Zells and Simons, and though we have stars here today, what our real objective was to examine where there is value in real estate around the world today. It seemed to us that in contrast to what we had all been thinking 2 or 3 years ago, where there'd be massive distress and the ability to buy large volumes of real estate below replacement cost, and it would be easy like the 90s. And that has not happened. And in fact, highest quality real estate has been pretty well picked over, although maybe the panel I'm about to introduce will disagree with that. And so the idea was to bring industry leaders from slightly different backgrounds, different modes of investing to talk today about where they see opportunities, not just here in the United States, but anywhere, because it just seemed to us that, in this environment today, you have to be very thoughtful and very scrappy to find great real estate investments. So I'm very excited to hear what they have to say. And so with that, let me introduce today's panel. And why don't you guys come on up and I'll give a little, come on up, have a seat. First, Peter Feinberg. He's going to be our moderator leading the discussion. Peter's a portfolio manager and senior director at Invesco Real Estate, who joined the firm's New York office in 2010. Peter spent 21 of his 28 years in the industry with REIF, rising to the head of portfolio management and head of dispositions in the Americas. He was also a portfolio manager for several REIF funds, as well as an acquisitions officer. His transactions history exceeds $4 billion, and he's a member of the firm's investment committee and investment strategy group. To Peter's left is Larry Owen. Full disclosure, when Larry was running the real estate portion of Stanford University's endowment, he was our first client. He walked in our door unsolicited in 1986 and found us. So Larry retired from Stanford University in 2006 after 35 years. During his career at Stanford, Larry managed 287 different investments for the merged endowment pool. Total net equity invested was $4.8 billion and resulted in a total net return to Stanford of $3.1 billion. That's roughly 3 times the size of Georgetown's total endowment, by the way. Currently, he serves in an advisory capacity to a number of firms, including Lone Star, Divco West, Parmenter, Green Oak Real Estate. And at the risk of embarrassing Larry, during his career at Stanford, he was known as the most successful endowment real estate investor in the country, bar none. To Larry's left is Jim Corll. Jim didn't mention this in his bio, but he did work for our company for a number of years, and he was chief investment officer for us. Somehow it didn't find its way into his bio here, but but Jim is a managing director at Sigler Guff. He joined the firm in 2009, and Jim oversees the firm's distressed real estate investment activities and developing investment strategies, portfolio construction, and identifying investment opportunities, as well as monitoring his real estate portfolios. And he's a member of the investment committee for various funds. And Jim, of all of the real estate co-investment fund of funds, has raised the most and put out the most of anybody I'm aware of over the last 5 years, which is a period of time when it's been very difficult to raise money for that mode of investing. And then lastly, Steve Steppe. Steve is head of Stockbridge Capital Group's core and value-added business lines, and he oversees the firm's separate accounts and strategic advisory business. He's also actively involved in new business development and acquisition activities. Steve has more than 40 years of real estate industry experience, and he was formerly managing director and chairman of REIF North America, and an active member of all of the firm's key North American investment committees and fund boards, as well as their Global Securities Strategic Investment Committee and Global Investment Committee. So as you can see, we have the endowment, the intermediary, the investor. We have a great, I think, range of experience up here, so I look forward to hearing your thoughts on where the great real estate opportunities are today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Bob. We appreciate the introductions.